evening, you're watching Estuary News. I'm Luke Adams. In the headlines tonight, a man is sentenced to 16 years for rape, a decline in bus use in Hull, and giant dominoes descend in the City of Culture. And later in tonight's programme, I'll be talking to Julie Snowdon about her nautical challenge. Before that, Ian MacDonald on anniversary celebrations for Grimsby Concert Society. But first tonight, a man has been sentenced to 16 years in jail for rape. Ishaq Al-Noor raped one woman and attempted to rape another in a cemetery on Springbank in Hull in June and November last year. He will serve at least 10 years of his sentence before he can apply for parole and will remain on the sex offenders register for life. His early admission of guilt meant the victim did not have to relive their ordeals before a jury. The commercial manager at East Yorkshire Motor Services says the closure of shops in Hull city centre is a major factor behind the decline in bus use. Bob Rackley says fewer shoppers are using buses as the high street continues to decline. The number of bus journeys in Hull has fallen in the last 8 years, with more than 4 million less journeys last year than in 2010. Figures from the Department of Transport show that bus use in the city dropped from 26.1 million journeys in 2009-10 to 21.5 million in the 2016-17 period, an 18% drop in less than a decade. A breastfeeding celebration event was held in Grimsby today. It marked the end of World Breastfeeding Week. The event showcased local achievements in improving breastfeeding rates across northern Lincolnshire and heard from mums who breastfeed. It was also a celebration to mark the awarding of the Stage 3 Baby Friendly accreditation by UNICEF, which supports services in North and North East Lincolnshire. Julia Burgess-Allen, Public Health Consultant at North Lincolnshire Council, explains the benefits of natural feeding.
It's something which is really important, not only for babies' health and not just their physical health, but their mental well-being and their attachment to mum, but also to mum's health as well. It's also a way that we can reduce inequalities and give babies the best possible start in life, because we know that breast milk is the perfect nutritional food for babies, and the majority of women who do breastfeed actually stop breastfeeding before they want to. So we would like to turn that around so that women who choose to breastfeed can continue to do so for as long as they want to, and that as many women that want to breastfeed are enabled to do so.
So I'm a peer support volunteer. We work alongside the paid feeding team, and we are here for women to come to us if they need support in the community. Maybe it's not a really urgent thing, but they'd like some advice or they'd like some social support. So I run, me and my colleague, we run a peer support service at the cafe, a cafe independent, on a Wednesday. Sarah Brown's made sure that there's one every single day in North Links and Scunthorpe, so there's always an opportunity for women to access support when they need it, and also just to come for a coffee. There's loads of different people here. There's health visitors, there's midwives, there's feeding leads, and they're all here to celebrate the same thing, which is that this district has done really, really brilliantly in supporting women to breastfeed.
I've got a maternal history of breast cancer, so on a personal level, breastfeeding is known to reduce the risks of that. So for me, it was something that I was always going to do anyway to help reduce those risks. But it's biologically normal. It's tailored for the baby. It's convenient. It's free. Who doesn't love free things? And it's a wonderful bond with your baby. Being able to snuggle up with them and them looking in your eyes and knowing that what you're doing's, essentially, like, for the first 6 months before they're weaned onto solid food, you're keeping that baby alive, and that's an amazing feeling.
Meanwhile, Hull Truck Theatre says they are a breastfeeding-friendly organisation. They are part of the Breastfeeding Friendly Premises Awards scheme, where parents can breastfeed at the venue. The theatre is also specially trained to offer parents any support they may need. Daniel McLaughlin is the venue's box office sales manager and says it's all about inclusivity.
We think it's very important to be inclusive, and why shouldn't we encourage that? The staff are trained to give assistance and support where necessary, provide a quiet space, and encourage that really, and we just advocate that it's part of our inclusivity policy. We want everyone to feel welcome in the theatre, whether that's just popping in for a drink or, prior to or during the interval of a show. We want everyone to feel like they're welcome here.
A new report has revealed that morale at Humberside Police is low for 80% of its workforce. More than 500 officers took part in the pay and morale survey. It identified that 70% are dissatisfied with their basic pay and allowances. They also said they felt worse off financially compared to 5 years ago. Giant dominoes will be sprawling through Hull this weekend. The event will see the items stretching throughout the city centre. A test took place today at Hull City Hall to ensure the dominoes will travel successfully. Katie Fuller, CEO of Absolutely Cultured, who are producing the event, says it will be a great way of bringing people to the city.
Yeah, well, we keep referring to the dominoes, and this is what they are. We've got 12,000 of these breeze blocks, and with them we're building a 3.5 kilometre domino run through the city centre. It's created by the artists Station House Opera, who are here today, and what they're doing here is testing one of the tricks. So it doesn't just run like a normal straight domino run, it also climbs structures, it goes through buildings. Here in City Hall it'll go up the central staircase and come out of the window and off the balcony before it tumbles to the floor and sets off the next run. Well, this piece of work has been around since 2009. It was originally commissioned in the run-up to the Olympics as a way of linking up 5 Olympic boroughs in London. And then it's been all over the world. It's been in Melbourne and Australia. I saw it earlier this year in Montpellier in France. And everywhere it goes, it's different because every city is different. So the route that it takes, the places it can point out, and that kind of contrast between the different ways that a city is used. Well, one of the most amazing things that we've found, and I was in conversation with the artists about this again today, is that the permission to do events here is now, there's no question about it. So we've had to ask permission to go through a bingo hall, through a nightclub, through a shopping centre, through the council chamber at the Guildhall, and everybody has said yes. There's no question about it. People want things to happen, and that's unusual. It quite often is a lot more difficult than that to persuade people that you want to do something slightly bizarre through their building with some dusty blocks. Hall's totally a can-do city now, and I'm really looking forward to getting an audience back out here to enjoy this together. It's one of those events where you can come and see the route, explore it, find your place to watch it, but it's about sharing that experience with a big audience of other people.
Hull New Theatre has announced that Alexandra Burke will reprise the role of Rachel Moran in The Bodyguard. She was the winner of the 5th series of The X Factor, and her debut single Hallelujah sold over 1 million copies in the UK. The stage show is based on the Oscar-nominated movie which starred Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner. Alexandra will perform the role of Rachel at all evening performances at the venue in January. West Lindsey District Council is introducing fines for abandoned supermarket trolleys in Gainsborough. The local authority will seize, store and dispose of the trolleys and charge the supermarket £75 for each trolley they recover. The move follows a consultation earlier this year as the council looked at ways to reduce the amount of abandoned trolleys in the town. A mental health unit has reopened in Hull following refurbishment. Maester Lodge in East Hull, managed by the Humber Teaching NHS Foundation Trust, has been undergoing a £500,000 improvement scheme over the last year. 14 bedrooms have been refitted, along with patient and relative spaces upgraded to promote health, well-being and independence. A dementia-friendly garden has also been created. Grimsby Concert Society is about to celebrate its 60th anniversary. I'm joined now by Ian McDonald to tell me what's in store. Good evening and welcome to the programme. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. First of all, congratulations on your 60th anniversary. How does it feel to be celebrating 60 years?
Well, funnily enough, despite appearances, I haven't been involved with the Society for the whole 60 years. But it feels good and bad. There is good news and there is bad news about our Diamond Jubilee event.
OK, what's the bad news, first of all?
The bad news is this could well be our final season. Our membership is dropping, and we don't think we can carry on unless there's a big upturn in our fortunes.
So what are you going to do to try and get more people involved?
We've gone for broke this season. We've got a very, very fine season, and we usually have very, very fine performers, but this time we've really pulled out all the stops. So we've got a great season, kicking off with Raphael Walfish, one of the great cellists in the world, who's consented to come to Grimsby because of his association with Richard Markham, who's a Grimsby-born, internationally renowned pianist.
And the season is running right up until next April, I believe.
Until April, yes. We're finishing with Gilles Liu, again, an internationally renowned pianist who has been to Grimsby before, and we had virtually a sellout concert the last time he was here. So,
why do these big names want to come to Grimsby? We've
got a good reputation here. Grimsby has a quite a well-renowned musical heritage. A lot of amateur musicians, lots of amateur musical societies in the town, much more than you would expect for a town this size. So we've done quite well over the years. I say it's been well known on the music scene.
And I believe it's Grimsby Central Hall where you do most of your performances.
It is virtually all our performances at Grimsby Central Hall.
When is the first day of the concert, Ian? I believe it is
October the 11th.
11th at 7:30.
At 7:30, yes.
Raphael and Richard.
That's right, yes.
OK, how can people get tickets if they want to come along to some of these events?
Well, the tickets are available from the Central Hall box office. And it's always fine to come and pay on the door. What we really want to encourage people to do, though, is to actually join the society. You get 6 concerts for only £60, and these are definitely international artists. So it's fantastic value. Even if you're not a big classical music fan, I think it's always wonderful to hear music performed live by the very best. It's a great experience. And as I said, it's fantastic value.
So you need lots of new members to flourish and continue into the next 60 years.
We do indeed. It's not about the money particularly. We've got a certain amount of reserve that we've built up over the years. Although we're not a money-making society, we're actually a charitable organisation. It's about audience numbers and the number of people that it takes to run an organisation like this.
Very quickly, Ian, if people want to give you a call, 01472 322 143. I hope you get lots of new members. And happy 60th birthday. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Join me after the break when Jack brings us all the latest sports news and Julie Snowdon on her nautical challenge. Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, all the latest sports news with Jack, and Julie Snowdon tells me about her nautical challenge. A conference has been held to highlight baby loss and bereavement. Healthcare professionals from Scunthorpe and Grimsby's hospitals attended the event, which was organised by bereavement midwife Nick Kerry. Guest speakers from charities included Remember My Baby and Our Angel, bereaved parents who talked about their experiences of losing a baby. The event was held at Grimsby St Andrew's Hospice. The Yorkshire-based supermarket chain Morrison's is cutting back on plastic. The supermarket is taking the wrapping off its standard-sized cucumbers in a drive to reduce the amount of plastic that's thrown away. Morrison says cucumbers have typically been sold in plastic as it serves as an extra skin to prevent the vegetables' dehydration. They will keep plastic on its half cucumbers. Taster sessions in archaeology will be held in Lincoln tomorrow. They are intended for people interested in taking up a traineeship as part of the Historic Environment Skills Project. There are 3 traineeships on offer, 2 in archaeology and 1 in building preservation management. The Heritage Skills Centre will be holding 2 sessions tomorrow at Lincoln Castle, 10 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. Meanwhile, an archaeology roadshow takes place near Lincoln later this week. Visitors will be able to meet archaeologists and see ancient artefacts discovered as part of the Lincoln Eastern Bypass scheme. There will also be activities including sandbox archaeology digs and stone flint work. The £50 million Lincoln Eastern Bypass project, being delivered by Lincolnshire County Council, aims to improve the city's infrastructure and minimise traffic congestion. The event takes place at Washington Community Centre on Thursday from 12 p.m. A football project designed for men who want to lose weight launches in Grimsby next month. Man vs Fat combines football with diet and lifestyle advice. There is also online support. Players weigh in before every game, followed by 30 minutes of six-a-side football. The 14-week programme starts on the 7th of September at Bradley Football Development Centre on Grimsby Road. And I'm joined now by Julie Snowdon to tell me about her round-the-world yacht race. Good evening, Julie. Welcome to the programme. Thank you very much, Julie, for coming in. And welcome home.
Thank you very much, Luke.
How does it feel to be back?
I think it's all still sinking in. It's great to be home, but yeah, still sinking in about what I've done, what I've achieved.
And I would imagine you're very tired.
I am quite tired still, yeah. It was quite overwhelming coming home and, realising that we've achieved our challenge and getting back into normal life again.
We'll let you have a little rest because we've got a VT coming up, which shows some of the highlights of the race. Cue VT, please. certainly looks like it was a great event. Julie, was it a great event to be part of?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was absolutely amazing. It's everything that I wanted, I expected, and even more.
You learnt to sail 2 years ago to take on board this mammoth race.
Yes.
Why did you actually want to do it?
I wanted a new challenge. I love the ocean. I'd seen the Clipper race in 2010 when they came into Hull, and yeah, I put everything together and thought that's definitely the challenge for me. It would really push me outside of my comfort zone, so that's what I took on.
Did you encounter lots of challenges?
There are lots of challenges. Just learning to sail was a challenge for me. I found that quite difficult, learning a new sport. Actually, during training and during the race, you've got the challenges of learning to become part of a team together, to race as hard and effectively as you can. And then, of course, just being out there in the big ocean with nobody else is a challenge in itself. There's many, many challenges, so many things to encounter, but you get through all those and it's absolutely amazing.
Lots of elation, I would imagine.
Yes, absolutely.
Was there harsh weather conditions while you was out there?
We had varied weather conditions, so sort of between gale force 7 and 9 when we were coming up the Mersey. We had, we went into a wind hole at one point, which was very frustrating, some disturbed sea states, so a bit of everything really in the North Atlantic, which is what I wanted to encounter.
Now, as the title suggests, it was round the world.
Yeah.
Where did it actually take you?
So the team left Liverpool last August, and they went from the North Atlantic down to the South Atlantic to South America, then across the Southern Ocean to Australia, and up to China, to Seattle, and then through the Panama Canal to New York. And it was in New York that I joined the race because I wanted to do the North Atlantic.
So it went all over.
It
Great itinerary.
Yeah.
What were some of your favourite places?
I liked all the ports. Everyone's so hospitable and so make us feel so welcome and so amazing. They can't do enough for us in every port. So I loved it when we came into Londonderry. That was my first port that I sailed into after my first ocean race, and the people were absolutely lovely there, and we got a really good send-off when we left. And then coming into Liverpool was just, it was race finish, it was overwhelming. You had friends and family, in the audience as well, but all those, I think more than 250,000 maybe people came to see us.
We saw on the VT there, it was full of jubilation, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
And celebrations when you got to the finishing line.
Yeah.
Would you do it again?
I would. I would love, and I'd love to do the Atlantic again as well. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. But yeah, racing and being part of the team, I would love to do it again.
Excellent. I wish you all the best if you do it again. Julie, very quickly, Fisherman's Mission and Yorkshire Elm that you was raising money for. How much did you raise?
I raised £2,000 for them. Yes, yeah. So
Excellent.
that was part of my race.
And why did you choose those charities?
They're two charities close to my heart. So the Yorkshire Ambulance, I live in a very rural area, and it cost, I think it's nearly £12,000 a day to keep the helicopters going.
Every little helps.
Every little helps.
Julie, welcome home. Thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.
Now here's Jack with all the sports news.
Hull City kicked off their championship season last night, but it wasn't a good night for the Tigers as they went down 3-1 at home to Aston Villa. City had taken the lead through Evandro's looping 6-minute effort, but Villa came from behind to grab all 3 points at the KCOM Stadium. Tommy Elphick equalised for the visitors just 8 minutes after going behind, before former Tiger Ahmed El Mohammadi and Alan Hutton secured the win. After the game, Hull head coach Nigel Adkins remained positive despite the disappointing result.
I think there's some really good things tonight. In a cold light of day, I'll sit down and reflect on the game and watch it back. We played some good football at times. The new players settled in. They're only going to get better. It's frustrating that we haven't won the game, but we looked fit enough. We kept going. And as I said, we got a young, hungry group of guys who want to do well.
It was also a bad night at the office for Hull goalkeeper David Marshall, who made a big error at an important stage of the match. The Scotland international played a poor ball out, giving away possession before El Mohammadi punished him to send Villa 2-1 up. Despite the mistake, Adkins, himself a former goalkeeper, stuck by his player after the game.
He knows he's made a mistake in there. He's a good goalkeeper. Obviously, it's everyone gets highlighted. I know from my own experience being a goalkeeper, the goalkeeper's the one who always is highlighted if he made a mistake. Now we've got a young, hungry group of players who are working extremely hard, and we'll back every player and we'll keep working extremely hard because we need to keep that spirit. It's the first game of the season. We've got a long, long way to go. We've highlighted it's going to be a challenge, and we've got to make sure that we stick together.
This summer's transfer window closes at 5 o'clock on Thursday, and Nigel Adkins will be hoping to add to his squad before the deadline to try and improve things. In tennis, it was disappointment for Carl Edmund, who crashed out of the Canadian Open in the first round. The British #1 lost in straight sets, 6-1, 6-2 to Diego Schwartzman in Toronto yesterday evening. Edmund was swept aside by the Argentinian, being beaten within an hour in the Rogers Cup encounter. And finally, in Rugby League, the referee has been confirmed for Hull Kingston Rovers qualifiers clash with Salford on Friday. Robert Hicks will take charge of the big game at KCOM Craven Park as the Robins get their end-of-season middle eight section underway. This will be KR's fourth successive appearance in the qualifiers, while Salford will be taking part for the third time. And that's all for today's sport. Back to Luke in the studio.
Thanks very much, Jack. That's it for tonight. My thanks to Julie and Ian for joining me on the sofa. If you have a news story, then please visit our Facebook or Twitter pages. Details on the screen. Email news at Estuary TV or phone us on the usual number. Write to us at the usual address. From all of us on the team, have a great Tuesday evening.